here's the recurring theme that to me is most troublesome. Let's go back to Andrew Whitworth. The Bengals had a plan to replace Andrew Whitworth 10 years ago. They took 2 tackles with their first 2 picks of the draft. The writing could not have been more on the wall. They did everything shy of flying a plane with a banner over the stadium that said, Andrew Whitworth is not going to be a Bengal in 2017. They telegraphed their plan. So when Andrew Whitworth left, it was painful. And given the fact that, oh boy, they're really going to give some of these younger dudes a go at it when they've shown nothing, it was troubling to even think about. And we all know what happened once Andrew left. But it wasn't that they let the player leave. It's that their plan to replace him didn't work because they did such a crappy job of identifying or developing the guys who were going to fill Andrew Whitworth's shoes. They still are looking for a really good offensive line nearly 10 years later. And there have been so many instances like this, right? The Jesse Bates thing. Is he the best safety in the NFL right now? He might be. Some were making the argument that he was a couple of years ago. But the writing was pretty much on the wall. Again, draft night, 2022, almost 3 years ago. The big takeaway was Dax Hill, that's Jesse Bates' replacement. He gets a year to learn under Jesse Bates. That's Jesse Bates' replacement. They telegraphed their plan again. The plan did not work. The T. Higgins conversation we're having right now. Here's something that we don't know. Is Joe Burrow going overboard in talking about how much T. Higgins is a need if Jermaine Burton's not a dope? Or if Andre Yoshivas inexplicably and unexpectedly rose to the level of a suitable T. Higgins replacement? Or Charlie Jones? No. So this is what has to change. Like, you're going to lose players. And because of the state of the league, because of how this league works, competitive dudes, egos, big money, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be noise. There's always going to be a player who wants a trade or a contract extension or something. There's always going to be noise. It's unavoidable. There's less noise if you start to replace the players you move on from. So here's the issue. I would love to, and I think if you're a Bengals fan, you would love to right now go, look, man, I like Trey. Appreciate everything he's done. Really thrilled with the fact that he's going to be with the team in 2025 and they can try to win with him. But you know what? We're good at that position. Like, this Miles Murphy kid is about to take the next step. And you know what? This Joseph Osai guy they drafted a couple of years ago, you know what? He's still ascending, and you can reinvest in him and bring him back. And you know what they're doing, it's not worked that way. Their track record with replacing really good players stinks. And I think that's kind of what Joe Burrow has been getting at when he talks about, you know, you don't want to be the team that's constantly having to replace guys. Well, you're going to have to. It's unavoidable. It's a salary capped league. Like, the players are going to leave. And there are going to be some players you just don't want to pay what they're looking for. It's cool if your plans to replace them work, yet there is such now a long, well-documented, drawn-out history of them being completely incapable of filling the spots for players who have left. They've tried in free agency. We can let DJ Reader go. Why? Because we're going to sign Sheldon Rankins. Absolute abject disaster. Now, look, long-term, maybe Chris Jenkins is going to be really good. I like him. Maybe McKinley Jackson's going to be really good. I like him. Chidobe Awuzie left at the end of the 2023 season. Did they replace him? The dude who replaced him got benched this year. So at some point, that's the part that has to change, because you are going to get to a spot with a lot of these guys moving forward. You know what? From an age perspective, just not sure. Maybe their best years are behind them, just not sure. It's cool if your replacement is ready. Is Miles Murphy ready? Hell, we're talking about bringing back Sam Hubbard, who was ineffective last year. Why? Because they got nobody on the roster to replace him. That's the part that has to change. This T. Higgins conversation, at the draft last year, it was, all right, this Jermaine Burton guy, I don't know, he might be a knucklehead, but if their bet on his talent and athleticism pays off, that's going to soften the blow when you lose T. Higgins. Now, can you even imagine that? Hey, T. Higgins is gone. Jermaine Burton's going to fill his spot. The antithesis of T. Higgins. So you keep having to come back to boy, you might have to overpay this guy, or you might have to keep this guy longer than you want because your plans to replace them don't work out. That's on Duke Tobin more than anything else. That's on the front office more than anything else. And until that changes, then we're going to be doing this all the time. The common denominator is the inability to successfully replace players who leave. Really good players who leave. They did such a bad job of replacing Von Bell, they had to bring back an older Von Bell. Are you kidding me? There's the issue. It's about, in this case, Miles Murphy. 2 years in, you ought to look at that dude who was a first-round pick and go, maybe he's not an all-pro. Maybe he's not going to lead the league in sacks. Maybe he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year or be nominated for the award. But you know what? We could put that guy where Trey was, and we are good. And we're going to pay him less money, and we could take the money difference between Trey and Miles and put it over here. Now they can. There's the issue. You want to get mad at them for anything, start there.